may I suggest to all of us that we can create a very positive new normal arising out of this, because this emergency has brought to the fore the acute need for all the stakeholders in our society to work together. The government, the corporate sector, the civil society, the NGO, the non-profit sector, all of us have had to work together, will have to work together in these crises if we want to get over them in a reasonably good time and in reasonably good health. So maybe this is the time we can use this emergency, we can use this crisis to create a new normal for a India Inc. to emerge, a new normal for a relationship between the government, the corporate sector, and the civil society, so that all three of us, all three stakeholders can work. And as Mr. Dwarkanath said, I have been fortunate enough to have worked in all the three sectors, and I know that it is possible for us to come together, work together, create that kind of trust amongst each other, so that we can all pull in the same direction and work for the national cause. Each one of us has a national interest at our core. We are committed to it, each one of us, and each one of us continues to contribute to it. So it is time that we try to create a new normal of all stakeholders in the society working together to take India forward, not to begin with, to get over this particular emergency, but then to make it into a habit of tackling bigger challenges, bigger tasks, and putting India into the global community in a position which it deserves and where it is supposed to be. I think, and I just want to sort of then from here, I think, and by the way, I'm really dead honest and serious about this, simply because without creating this trust and this India Inc. in the real sense, of which we keep talking about in ways all the time, but we haven't been able to do so, I think we will not be able to succeed in the ambitions and aspirations that we have. Let me actually give one suggestion right away, that one of the things that we can do, and Niti Aayog would be very, very glad to hear, is to give us your candid feedback all the time on everything that you think needs a candid feedback to the government. Niti Aayog will respect them, Niti Aayog will work on them, and Niti Aayog will engage with you on the candid feedback that you give us, because that can be the beginning of building a trust between the government and the corporate world and the civil society, the partners that we have. On the as example of what we can achieve, I think we can start off by in this particular emergency by going local, by going in fact hyper local, so that the corporates who are there, can we take care of what we have around us? Because you see all the time that very often I've seen from all sides, what we try to do is to engage only at the macro, at the national level. We talk in Delhi. We try and come together, hold sort of platforms in Delhi, and have these conversations. But these are very often in the nature of one-off conversations. I am suggesting to you, I'm actually requesting all the corporates and the members who are here to try and look what is around them at the local area. There are 4,700 urban local bodies in the country. Now, all of you are located somewhere or the other in those local bodies, urban local bodies. Can we go out and engage with them, improve their local governance capability, see what's happening, in terms of the health facilities there? Is preventive health a starter or not? Can you work with, for example, district hospitals to improve them and improve their facilities, because they are going to be bearing the burden of not just this disease and this pandemic, but also in future as we go. There are 6.5 lakh villages in this country. The Gram Panchayat, the community service centers, all of them need a helping hand to improve their own facilities and their own services. Can we work with them, because they will be at the forefront of any such pandemic when it comes again. For example, I chair the National Nutrition Council, and I know that the 11.5 lakh Anganwadis in this country today are probably closed because of the lockdown. The children who were coming there and were getting the midday meal, what is happening to them now? Vedanta, for example, has set a very good, has set a very good model by helping work, improve 2,000 Anganwadis and making them into Nandangars. And these Anganwadis need a lot of help. Why am I saying this? Because if we work in a continuous, consistent manner at that local level, the message will filter up that corporate India is working with the local people to improve their lives on a daily basis. And I think that is where the trust will happen. That is where your participation in the cause of the local people will begin to be noticed, and surely it will over time accumulate to become a massive force for creating this body, this trust and the platform that we've got. I think that's the way I would take it forward. I think the other part that we can do, is really think about, a Swachhata plus program. The Prime Minister has talked about, Swachhata, Swachh Bharat. He has taken his inspiration from Mahatma Gandhi, who had once said that he would prefer Swachhata to Swatantrata. That was the kind of priority that Mahatma Gandhi gave to Swachhata, because he knew, and that he had in the first Congress session, annual session that Mahatma Gandhi participated, he took the responsibility for cleaning all the toilets and the facilities at that Congress session. I forget the venue, because he realized that that was one of our Achilles' heel. He realized that we as a society do not give the premium to hygiene and to social cleanliness and to Swachhata as we should be doing. All of us are aware, I'm sure you're aware, of the fact that we consider our homes to be like temples, but outside our threshold, it could be a garbage dump and we don't matter. Now, this is where the corporates could actually create a huge effort and a huge model by, as I said, going Swachhata plus, because what we have done in the government is, of course, we know very well, but can you create an awareness for social hygiene? You know that there is, I believe, even in the notification, something against spitting in the public. You know that Singapore has banned it, and you can actually be punished, penalized, for doing so. In our country, why can't we spread this awareness that, look, this is the worst thing that you can have anywhere that you move forward. Now, the corporates working wherever you can, I think you can help us in doing that, and this will again, this will change the country once and for all. This will bring about a behavioral change that is needed, that is much needed to avoid the sort of disease burden, the morbidity business burden that we have. One other example that I can give is because I think it's something that can happen very easily, is to talk about preventive care, is to talk about our personal fitness campaign, the Fit for India campaign, and that had been launched by the government, that Prime Minister took part. How many of us in the corporate world also put up their own videos and messages on that? Again, at the very corporate level, in India, fitness is not yet a social movement. We need to make it into a social movement. It should not be, it cannot remain a business only of the upper classes. It has to be down there at the lowest level. You know that we have become the capital for some of the sort of non-communicable diseases. And I think it's time that we took this in our hand and said that we will work on it. Maybe we can open some open air gyms. We can have some other situations. We can create an awareness. We can work with the primary health centers. We can work with now all the wellness centers that we have created to create a fit India at the ground level, at the local. Why am I talking about hyper local? Two reasons. One, we have noticed in this pandemic that in order to contain it, we will have to go hyper local. A district is too big a unit. We'll have to go down to the talukas to the villages. In urban centers, in cities, you have to go to small colonies, into buildings, and to contain them. So you've got to have a hyper-local, approach towards solving India's problems. Because each locality has its own peculiarities, has its own specific conditions. One size cannot fit the continent called India. And therefore, corporates which are spread all over the country can actually help us become hyper-local. And two, that once we go hyper-local and the message comes from ground above that corporates are a part of this national effort, then the relationship between the government and the corporates will no longer be one which is looked at with a degree of suspicion or looked at, there was a time, then this is, and I would want to end here, there was a time, of course, when Mahatma Gandhi could stay in the Birla House and have his prayers, and nobody ever thought of objecting to that, because there was a relationship between the corporate world and the government and the national movement, which was known to be of the highest quality. We have to recreate that, and to recreate that, the message must come from the ground above that the India Inc. is being created at the most local level, because that is how we will be able to convert Swachhata, we will be able to convert Swasth Bharat, Swachh Bharat and Saksham Bharat as a Jan Andolan. And that's what we need to do. We have to create a Jan Andolan for those things, because once we have created that, we'll be far better prepared for the next pandemic. God forbid if it will strike us, but we know that it will. We have created this Jan Andolan against these things in his defense. I think we would have used this opportunity to draw the right lessons and to convert this into an opportunity for a better India tomorrow. Thanks a ton for listening to me, and thank you for this opportunity.